I want you to be different. I want you to step out of your comfort zone into your courage zone. I want to encourage each of you guys to try something new and to be yourself. Because if you look around you, there's not anyone just quite like you. Whether this is your third year or fourth year with LCM, or whether this is your first. I just want to tell you guys to try something new, to be different, stand out, and be yourself above all. So thank you guys, and welcome to our day-long conference.
Keep in mind that while compromise and negotiation is important, you should never let go of your position's core values to have an easy way out of a conflict.
We have been granted an incredible opportunity to work with the people around us, to use this education and skills to make a difference.
Looking through at different perspectives can really lead to the best type of creativity and help delegates think outside the box.
I'd hereby like to open our day-long conference.
So we're going to do a policy round.
Terrorism should be defined as the intentional killing of civilians for political or military gain. Prior disagreements have revolved around not defining terrorism in a way that paints freedom fighters as terrorists.
What groups that we consider to be freedom fighters have not used violence?
But Angola is ready to come to a comprehensive definition and protect the people of our countries.
Terrorism is due to the hate in the hearts of a terrorist. So additionally, a resolution should try to address the cause that created this hate in the heart of the terrorist. If such a resolution is passed, Jordan believes it can minimize terrorism. Thank you.
As electronic systems are becoming greater and greater parts of our society, and cyber attacks are becoming greater and greater threats to all of us.
Terrorist acts are perpetrated to advance the organization's religious, racial, or cultural beliefs.
Delegates, raise your placards if you want to be on the speakers list. Russia, Nigeria. Crime for economic gain should not be considered terrorism.
We should not call these groups religious groups because they are usually just using pure hate and they are extremely radical.
Lithuania believes that religion should play no part in this at all.
If you have ISIS and you call them, oh yeah, all Muslims are terrorists, that isn't right.
The Muslims that are terrorists have to be defined as terrorists.
Yeah. We definitely do need to include religious terrorism. We're going to start a resolution. Yeah.
So a simple majority is 37. Two-thirds majority is 48. So no one has a two-thirds majority. All those wishing to be on the speakers list, please raise your placards. Thad Cochran, Richard Shelby.
Motion for a 5-minute moderated caucus.
30-second speaking time.
With the topic of defense and lethal aid for Ukraine.
If the lethal aid cannot be used as a declaration of war, I wholeheartedly support this.
When you look at the state of the Ukrainian army right now, they don't have enough resources to defend themselves, let alone attack the Russians.
We need to put sanctions on Russia, and we need to do everything in the scope of our powers to stop Russia and make sure Ukrainian citizens get their livelihood, get their lives, and get their families back.
We also need to provide Ukraine with lethal weapons to help them defend the country that is rightfully theirs and protect their sovereignty from the invading world power of Russia, who threatens the balance of Europe as a whole.
Diplomatic efforts may be ideal. Russian-backed forces have repeatedly violated these ceasefire agreements.
Diplomacy has not stopped Russia in the least bit.
Putin has not seen consequence to his actions. We have to show him the word consequence.
The U.S., as a leader of the free world and a model for democratic countries everywhere, shouldn't watch as the sovereignty of a vulnerable country is violated and spit upon by the Russian ruler.
As the United States, we are known as a world power that frees those who are oppressed by governments and who are under strain by other countries.
Our biggest priority is the safety of the U.S.
not the safety of Ukraine.
Furthermore, as a bill is legally binding and a resolution is not, the actions described in a bill might have a greater effect on the decisions of our president, who, as demonstrated by his illegal executive orders and bypassing of Congress, clearly doesn't respect our opinion.
It doesn't matter how many weapons they have. It matters how many citizens they have that are willing to fight.
I quote the most common statement in Kiev right now is, "I will fight for every square inch of my country." If your homeland is being invaded, your incentive to fight triples.
We are not declaring war. We are just defending Ukraine and giving them lethal and defensive aid so they can defend themselves.
A 15-minute Q&A session with the administration officials. All those in favor?
What happens 10 years from now when the missiles we give are pointing back at Warsaw?
You are standing up to Vladimir Putin here in the safety of Washington, D.C. The reality is that this is a very serious conflict.
State terrorism must be defined as a government that is supporting a terrorist group.
We should add terrorism to the list of crimes that can be tried in the International Criminal Court.
That interpretation of the word is what we should be focused on.
Some countries said that they would agree to this resolution if we stated that we would set a date of when to later talk about foreign occupation.
We would like to see a specific later date in the resolution.
So you can't just put off a topic because not all of you agree on it. That's the whole point, to be able to negotiate while upholding your policies. There are only 2 countries that disagree with this resolution.
However, we would like all of the countries to go over the resolution and make sure the policies align. And if they do, to then add more because it's not addressing all the questions that in the background guide it says a resolution should address.
A lot of your countries here were founded on rebelling against foreign occupation.
What if the government that the other government is occupying is also committing acts of terrorism?
Is everyone here okay with the definition I wrote for legal aid?
I have nothing
Legal aid is not the answer here.
We think that sitting idly by will provide more defense for the people of the Ukraine than providing lethal aid for them.
Providing legal aid for them will only make Russian troops fight back harder.
Please explain how your idea of non-lethal aid will halt the advance of Russian troops in Ukraine.
Do you believe that sanctions will completely defeat Russia in this conflict?
So if you're not preventing Russia with lethal aid, how are you preventing them?
We try sanctions on Russia.
How is there a way to ensure that, 1, this won't be a waste of money, 2, we are not putting our Americans at risk?
My unfriendly amendment ensures that American advisors are sent to Ukraine to help monitor the use of the United States arms and to advise military tactics in Ukraine.
How are we to protect the inspectors of American citizenship that are to go into foreign land where it is extremely unstable and there is bombing constantly?
They are not going to go anywhere near combat, and also there's not bombing taking place by Russia and Russian rebels near the places where the generals of the Ukraine army are operating from.
As many people have questioned, what happens if all our donations go to the Taliban or some form of ISIS group? These advisors will ensure that Ukraine will get their money, get their weapons.
Robert, you have the floor for a minute.
I urge you to vote for Omnibus, because in the end, Omnibus will prevail.
We are going to vote on the omnibus bill. All those in favor, please raise your placards.
Very
More than 49 to 14 to 3 is still
I definitely wholeheartedly agree with this resolution.
It defines terrorism. It defines what different types of terrorism there are.
We've also defined cyber terrorism, which is extremely pertinent today as many terrorist organizations utilize technology and computers in order to spread their propaganda.
It starts by helping rebuild the infrastructure and economy of Ukraine, which is something that's very important and necessary for future economic, social, and political stability in Ukraine.
Step 2 is observing how Ukraine uses those non-lethal items. There could be 3 outcomes. Outcome A, which is if Ukraine receives the non-lethal aid, uses it responsibly and as we expected, but is still not gaining the territory that was taken from the rebels or Russia, then we will provide them limited lethal aid.
I love this idea, but I just want more specifics on like what is the funding for this, what is the timeline for it.
$20 billion? I mean, we have other problems in the U.S.
Just because we have multiple bills and resolutions on the floor does not mean that we can only pass one bill or resolution. All of these bills and simple resolutions add something different to our strategy against Ukraine.
All those in favor of the Russian Defense Aggression Act. All those against? Of 27 to 15 to a lot of abstentions, that fails. Senator Jack Reed, electricity point. All those in favor of the Ukrainian Economic and Humanitarian Solution 2015. That passes.
All that said, this is probably the hardest debate topic I've ever participated in or chaired.
It's very technical.
It's very technical.
Yeah. You have to, affirm your position, and even if you're the only one in the room that thinks that, who cares? That's your position.
All those in favor of closure of debate.
Well, I'm glad y'all were able to learn something today. Had some fun too. That's what we're all about, LCM. And we were able, more importantly, to come together as a body to overcome the bipartisan divide, to pass a bill giving weapons to Ukraine.
Confidence is important. Because if you're not confident and you don't go up and say your ideas, off the bat, people can form ideas about you. And it's really important that people think you're confident so that they will listen to you.
Diplomatic relations are important in a debate, so you know who you are allies with and who you don't really want to agree with, but it is always good to be open to other people's opinions.
And I also learned that I shouldn't give up on speaking because of one mistake. Mistakes are always welcome.
I have improved many of my research skills for everything, not just LCM.
When you're in committee, it's important not just to put the policy that you have forward, but also to make assumptions about what you do have and support things that maybe you didn't research.
I thought that this was an amazing experience and wish to do more UNSC debates in the future. Thank you for your time.
And give yourselves a pat on the back, because thank you guys for showing up. We couldn't have done it without you. Y'all did an amazing job.
That's all.
With the power vested in me in this gavel, I'd like to close our one-day debate on February 28th. Thank you guys.